Hi guys, Maikeru here. This is my video about Necromancy and everything it has to offer that we know so far. Now the official Jagex reveal has happened, I can reveal as much as I want from our trip because pretty much everything on our trip has been covered in the release video. This is essentially a TLDR of everything I know, and I'll be going into more specifics about each thing in separate videos. I wanted to do one overview video to give you as much information as possible, but if there is something in this video that you'd like to know more about, don't worry, in the coming week I'm going to be putting out like 5 or so necromancy related videos that hopefully will answer all of your questions and concerns. Before we fully get into it, just look at the capes on screen. They are absolutely beautiful. There's a reason why people like the inverted thieving on Fresh Start Worlds, because those colours go together so well. And they said they tried a lot of other iterations and it looked too much like divination and stuff like that, so they went with this. I think it looks good. I think it also could have been done with like a blue soul colour trim, but this works as well. I am very excited for this skill because I was very skeptical at the start, and I think Jagex will do it justice, and I'm less skeptical knowing everything that we know now. Look how beautiful the city of is. It looks so nice, the ritual site, all of the buildings around it. It looks absolutely fantastic. Even the skybox and everything, absolutely phenomenal. Huge props to the graphics team on this. That's the first thing you see, and it's great. It is really awesome. So the reason why we went to Jagex was obviously to give feedback on the skill. We played through the tutorial and we could level up to level 20. It's not a complex skill by any means, but there are some extra things that are useful to know moving forward when you're doing the skill. You have to buy like candles and ink for your rituals. I bought all of the candles and everything so I could start doing some rituals and just give it a try. The rituals here are pretty cool, so you can pick different tiers of bones and they go up in tier, and the higher tier bone that you do, the more souls you get. You know how like World of Warcraft and stuff have talent points? Well, we're going to have that in this skill, and I'm loving it. It's absolutely amazing, right? I'm a big fan of these systems in MMOs. It also makes it stand out more than the other styles, making it like a standalone style, which is what they want to do with Necromancy, and I like that a lot, making it distinguishable from others and unique. That's what I love in a new skill. It wants to be unique and obviously rewarding and stuff, and this is that as well. The XP you get for higher tier bones and stuff doesn't change. So you can do the lowest tier bone and get the same amount of XP, but the souls increase, and the ritual XP is far less than the actual combat XP you would get. So the whole point of this is to do rituals until you have enough souls for your talent tree unlock, and then you do combat for the rest, get the other portion of your talent tree unlock from doing combat XP, and try and level focusing on combat. So before anyone in the comment section says, oh, you know that there's bones here, you probably bought loads. Well, one, Jagex is monitoring our accounts, as Timbo says right here.
Yeah, basically we're checking your accounts. I mean, we talked about this. We want to try and release all the items that you might need for the skill that already exist, regardless. So like, there's no opportunity for anyone to merch, really. But yeah, I mean, 100% you're being checked. Everyone, all the creators that came are being checked, and we're monitoring your accounts just in case.
They're also going to post all of the items that they reveal with Necromancy in a news post today with the reveals. So I'm literally going to be buying them on stream with everyone else. I have not bought any items. They're tracking our accounts. If we buy items and stuff, we just get banned, and it's not worth it. Also, this skill is not viable. You gotta remember that one bone does a ritual for about 35 seconds. That means you're using under 2 bones a minute, which equates to about 110 bones an hour. If you're only using this many bones and you're only doing it for your talent tree and mostly focusing your XP on actually killing monsters, I am not going to need the 28 billion GP in my bank, so I have no need for an advantage in terms of GP or items, because you're only going to need a few thousand bones. If anything, you're going to be able to make money with this skill by doing the other rituals. Stuff like making Unpure Essence, which is then used for the new runes in the skill. And then obviously there's other rituals than just the Essence that will make you money as well. When you're doing the rituals, you get this like ritual interface pop up. If you click fixed camera mode, in my opinion, it's much nicer, and then you're just like stuck in one area. And then if you get any random spawns like this ghast, you can click them and they give you more XP. I like the fixed camera and that will be really helpful for like mobile and stuff, so you don't like misclick. I honestly like this addition, and I'm probably going to play it in this way. And rituals are very, very simple. You just AFK for 35 seconds. At the end of the ritual, there is this chest right here, and that chest will give you the loot that came from the ritual. These items will obviously be used in necromancy in different ways, whether it's spells, whether it's more rituals, etc. The only time you don't really want to be AFK in rituals is if you want those wandering ghasts. If they spawn and you click them, they're like a big boost in XP. They're about half of the XP you would get at the end of a ritual, which is the majority of your XP. So they're like 50% more XP if you click them for one ritual, which is kind of big. This is the talent tree. I can't show the specific talents with tooltips and stuff because Jagex said they're all subject to change and they want to rebalance them and stuff. So if I show you a tooltip and it says X, Y, or Z numbers, people are going to theorycraft those numbers and they might theorycraft things wrong. And Jagex doesn't really want people to have wrong information going into this skill. So Jagex will reveal it all before release. It's just they don't want it to be revealed before the numbers have been solidified. But as you can see, it says I need 30,000 combat XP for my next talent point. That's actually going to be 2k XP on release. We were talking about it because 30k XP was like level 35 and the next talent is at level 20. So as you can see right here, it says, you know, how many souls that you need for a talent tree unlock and how much combat XP will be on the side here. So the first one is going to require 40 souls and 2,000 XP, which means you do 10 rituals with wyvern bones, then you go kill trolls in Birth or something, get level 20, and you can get a talent point. Next one's going to be a higher amount, and a higher amount, and a higher amount. But the higher tier rituals you do, the more souls you get, which evens it out. I do think it's going to be about 20% rituals and 80% combat training. And once you hit level 90 and you have all of the talent tree, it's just going to be combat training. You are not getting much XP from these rituals compared to combat training. Although they did say that the combat XP is scaled on release to make it feel better. As you can see here, I'm only getting 13 XP per kill. Normally you get 50 XP, and they said that the XP is actually nerfed until you get higher levels. And when you get to higher levels, then you unlock increased XP up to 100%, same as other combat styles. You start with like 20%, then you go to 40%, 60%, 80%, 100% kind of thing. And then you get to the point when you're a higher level that you'll get the same XP rates as if you were doing any other skill. I think that's kind of helpful, because it means that people don't just blitz through the combat in 2 seconds. Also, speaking about combat XP, ED3 is getting nerfed, so don't worry about everyone just doing ED3 and it being absolutely boring. I did a Q&A with the J-mods, and it's about 25 minutes long with stuff like this in it, so if you're interested in more intricacies about the skill, then feel free to check that out. I'll leave a link of it in the description to this video. Roll that clip of the ED3.
Leading into the great experience, ED3.
Yes, so ED3 in the live game right now is bugged. We have fixed it. What do I mean by fixed it? I mean the XP rates were incorrect and they shouldn't have been like they were. We have changed that so that they are now what you expect. What you expect is they are like they're just like any other creature. So like no one grinds ED2, for example, for XP because they are what you expect them to be. That is exactly the same for ED3 now.
And every time you get a new talent tree tier unlock, it requires a quest. So they said there's going to be like 7 to 8 quests with this skill. These quests allow you to progress through, and I think there's like a boss fight somewhere in the middle, which is really cool, like a quest boss. I doubt the quest boss will be super difficult, but for the ones who want a challenge, once you've done all of the quests, then you can obviously kill the first Necromancer, which will be the big baddie, the big boss for Necromancy on release. This first Necromancer actually drops a tier 95 Necromancy gear as well, which is a tier 95 on release alongside a boss. Sign me up. I did have a lot of concerns with Necromancy as a style. If Necromancy is released and it's too weak, then other styles are just better and it's useless, or if it's too strong, other styles are worthless now, you know? But having a Necromancy only boss, even if it's weak on release, you have to use Necromancy for that boss in particular, so it makes it worth it until they get, like, everything balanced out. Very good job on Jagex on that one. I love that we're getting a boss as well as the skill. That's big props. Obviously, we've got that whole, like, Necromancy season afterwards as well. So if you take a look at the good old roadmap right here, it says Necromancy season, right? They said to us that the Necromancy season is going to have new quests, bosses, player events, and everything post-release. We're getting a skill and bosses and everything. Like, it's going to be a good year. We also obviously got other updates, like the Woodcutter Grove coming next month. We got a lot of stuff to sink our teeth into, and I'm happy with that. While leveling the skills, you get earnable equipment, and then you can, like, self-fund your equipment. I guess kind of like mining and smithing rework, where you make weapons and gear with the level, right? So level 10, you'll make level 10 gear. Level 20, you'll make level 20 gear, so on and so forth, up to level 90, and you'll get tier 90 gear. They wanted to make Necromancy as accessible as possible to players, and the way they've done this is to make the gear that's on screen easily accessible, and you don't have to spend like millions upon millions of GP to get it. It will go to 120. With that being said, combat skills going to 120 is very interesting, because will the other combat skills eventually go to 122? That would be very cool to see. And in addition to that, they said overloads actually help this skill more than other skills, because it goes by the same calculation. I think it's like 16% plus 3, depending on what tier overload you have. This means Necromancy will be boosted more than the other skills, being a 120. Also, they are releasing extreme Necromancy potions, but your existing overloads are useful, which means stockpile some overloads before the release of the skill, and then you won't have to make extreme Necromancy potions. Good stuff there. So with this being a fully fledged combat style with its own weapons, armors, abilities, and everything, means that there's a lot of new things being introduced with this, and one of them is no Revo++ with the skill, at least with what they were thinking in the testing. This skill is supposed to be an introductory skill to helping players learn the combat system better. So they've completely reworked your auto attacks, and now that's kind of like your Revo, and then you use abilities on top of that. This skill is supposed to be teaching the player on different things. We've given feedback on certain skills and actually like teaching them when you learn them and stuff, so hopefully that will happen on release and people will learn the skills easily. Also with the talent tree, because you have choices, I think people will read the tooltips and actually know what the skills do, or have some type of understanding, and then that will help you learn the skill a bit more instead of just throwing skills at you. You have to actually look at what skills you're learning. Just like World of Warcraft and stuff, it gets you a bit more involved in the skill, and then you can actually know what you're learning and use it to your benefit, you know? If you've been looking on screen, my character's just been going ahead and using a bunch of the new skills. The animations are absolutely awesome. I am a big, big fan of those animations. And then also, you get these things called like necrotic stacks, and you get like soul stacks and stuff like that on your buff bar. These are going to be combos as such, where you can, you know, get stacks and then use them for a big payout, whether it's a free ability, whether it's a hard-hitting ability, you know, stuff like that. And I love those type of interactions. You have necrotic attacks in your main hand guards, and then the offhand lantern is what you use to conjure undead to battle with you. These conjures are actually super strong. And in my testing, as you can see here with my DPM, I was getting 500,000 DPM with the conjures and using them to deal damage. Conjures by far seem like the most amount of damage at the moment, at least. In the future, they may buff other abilities to be like this, but for now, the conjure build is very, very strong. And I kind of like that. That's like what a necromancer is. I love Diablo 3 a ton, and having a necromancer on there where all your like minions follow you is kind of cool. Having that in RS3 would be kind of neat too. It doesn't have quite as many conjures. I think the max amount of things you can have out at the same time is around 5 or 6, but they are very, very strong in their own ways. Again, I can't really show tooltips of any of these skills just because they are all subject to change with numbers and stuff. So once they're actually fully locked in, Jagex will give you the numbers of these skills and exactly how they work. But essentially, it's a pretty simple combat style, and I was able to use it at a bunch of different bosses and do okay. I went to Arc Glacier. I managed to get an okay kill time of like 50 seconds, which is definitely not good by any means, but it's also heavily impacted by like what special attack you get. But it was pretty fun to see it work there, and it worked pretty well. In addition to that, I took it to Vindicta, and I managed to get a 30-second kill time, and I actually even managed to get a little bit sub-30, like a 28, but I wasn't recording that, which obviously is not that great by any means, because I have like a 10-second in the live game with melee. But just in my very, very limited testing and limited knowledge of the skill, I'm still getting decent kill times, so it's still pretty strong. Me and Omid went to Solak to give that a test, and that was actually really good. The only issue was, in the testing that we were doing, your conjures wouldn't attack the same target as you and you couldn't command them. So obviously that's a big criticism that we've given back. They should default attack the target you're attacking, in my opinion, and obviously they need a command button to either attack a specific target or stop. Because if you don't have a stop, then you're just going to kill yourself at Rago or something, which is not good. So we've given that feedback, and it made our Solak kill time pretty slow. It was going great. We even skipped roots. He put his arms and legs down. We didn't get any roots. That shows that it's got decent DPS at least. But as soon as he puts his arms and legs down, our conjures do not swap target. They stay on Solak, which obviously you're not supposed to attack during this phase, and our damage is wasted. So we had to use loads of different abilities and try and get it that way, which then also meant when the core came down, we couldn't have our minions out already, and then juice them kind of thing with like buffs and stuff with the skill to make them deal more damage, because we would have to summon them first, and then you don't really get very good burst because you have to get everything up and going. So sadly it took us quite a few times on the core, which is where we lost most of our time, and then also going into the mind with Erefdor. That was also pretty difficult because my conjures didn't follow me in there either because they didn't swap target. They just stayed on Solak outside and I just kind of hit the guy in the middle with the abilities I had available to me. But we managed to get the kill, and the last phase was actually the smoothest phase out of them all. If you take a look here at how much damage we actually did, it was kind of mental. And the fact that we can even kill Solak with the style, even without it being balanced all correctly, then it's pretty good so far. I got a 10-minute kill with Omid. I think Wazzy and RS Guy got like a 8.5, 9-minute kill in the end. So with the issues with our conjures not actually attacking the right things, we can still get okay kill times, and that's promising. Because imagine that, but our conjures would attack everything like the core and we'd get a 1-cycle core and stuff. That literally takes like 3 minutes off of our kill time, and then we're getting a 7-minute kill. And then with some refinement and practice, we're getting a 6-minute kill. And then so on and so forth, right? And obviously, people like to hybrid at Solak, so, you know, add some hybriding in there, and you're Gucci. I also went to the Cowfight Queen, which was a really interesting one because she protects against melee, then range of magic, but she doesn't protect against necromancy, so I can just slap her up without any worries about my damage being negated, which is quite nice. That's a pretty cool one. So I just showed you pretty much everything I know about the skill and everything I've tested. The only thing I couldn't show you was the tooltips, but again, you'll see those soon as well. And I want to end this video out with my thoughts and just everything about the skill, in my opinion. I was very, very skeptic of a new combat skill. I didn't want there to be a combat square to balance, but it's still a combat triangle, and necromancy is just not strong nor weak to anything. So it's like a neutral skill, and I think that works pretty well in addressing the combat triangle. In addition to that, having a necromancy only boss helps with the actual like balancing around the skill. And then on release, it won't be dead on arrival if it's slightly weaker than other skills. I like that a lot as well. And it helps with reward spaces in the whole necromancy season, which is great. But even in my testing, I was able to do a good amount of DPM. So my DPM wasn't too crazy bad compared to the other skills, and I'm not the best PVMer in the world. So people like Luca that went to test was testing Arc Glacier at high-end rages and doing way more DPM than me probably, because they understand the combat system even more. I think this skill is very, very good. It's not overly complex, it's not too easy, and it utilizes a lot of mechanics that synergize with one another within the skill, and that is fun to me. I think it's fun to play because of the synergies and because everything flows together, and that just feels good. They have definitely put a lot of work into this skill, and I am very, very excited moving forwards. And in terms of my first impressions of the skill and what we know and what I was doing in my limited testing, I would rate the skill really, really well, but I don't think it's quite as good as archaeology for me personally, just because I really like the skilling aspects and the mysteries of archaeology, and it just has a special place in my heart because it was the first skill I raced and such. But necromancy is very close, and it is very, very good. I don't think the race is going to be anywhere near as good as archaeology, because, you know, combat is not that crazy exciting to train, and it's not super new in regards to, like, what you're killing. But you can still do some preparation leading up to the skill release that could help you in the race, so that's kind of fun. And I'm still very, very looking forward to the release, and I am so hyped to stream it, dive into it, learn the style, and just have fun. That's the main thing, right? It's going to be fun. It gives a lot of content for us to be engaged with. It keeps us occupied for a long time. Then we've got the season straight after that keeps us occupied, and that's what they need to do. They need to keep releasing content. Like Archaeology, for example, it took so long until it got a new dig site, so the hype was kind of died down by the time that was released. Whereas if they're going to continuously release stuff surrounding Necromancy straight away, that keeps the hype flowing, and I love that. That's what they need to do, and if they keep doing that, I am a very happy boy. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. I like reading all of the comments, and I reply to like 99% of them. So, you know, if you have any questions for me personally, if you have, you know, any ideas and stuff like that, feel free to drop them down below. And you can always pop into my stream. I stream all the time, so the link will be in the description if you want to talk to me personally and ask some questions and stuff. I'll be there. I'll probably have multiple other necromancy-related videos and the Q&A coming out very, very soon. So watch out for those, and until next time, see ya.